Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Rupert, and this is the Roman Times. Today, we will have a guest speaker talk about the Punic Wars. After that, we will be interviewing our very own social class. Once you get a glimpse of their day in the life, we will then acknowledge Augustus and Caligula for impacting Rome for better or worse. Now, please welcome our guest speaker. Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Rupert, and we were going to have a guest speaker who is going to present to you the Punic Wars, but unfortunately he was not able to show. And I will be doing the presentation in return. So, to begin, the Punic Wars, the two groups that were involved was Carthage and Rome. And there was 3 Punic Wars that took place from 264 BC to 146 BC. Before the Punic Wars, Carthage was a very powerful city-state in northern Africa, and Rome was a dominant power throughout the Italian peninsula. Rome decided to intervene on a dispute on the western coast of the island Sicily. Sicily was then a Carthage province. This dispute involved an attack by a soldier from the city of Syracuse against the city of Messina. While Carthage was supporting Syracuse, Rome supported Messina. The struggle soon exploded into a direct conflict between the two powers, with control at Sicily at stake. Sicily, at this time, was divided into 3 provinces. The first was being Carthage, second was the southeast part, who was under control of the king Syracuse, and the third part was the body of campaign soldiers, who were once Syracuse. So during the First Punic Wars, Rome scored its first sea victory at Mylae at 260 BC, and a major victory in the Battle of Economus in 256 BC. Rome later invaded North Africa, but unfortunately was defeated. In 241 BC, the Roman fleet was able to win a decisive victory against the Carthaginians at sea. This broke the legendary naval superiority. At the end of the First Punic Wars, Sicily became Rome's first overseas province. So, that being, the Second Punic Wars began, from 218 BC to 201 BC. Rome took control of both Corcina and Sardinia, as Carthage was able to establish a new base of influence in Spain in 237 BC. This was under the leadership of the powerful general Hamilcar Barca, and later his son-in-law, Hashablua. Hamilcar Barca, who died in 229 BC, made his younger son, Hannibal, who was a very important part of the Second Punic Wars, swear a blood oath against Rome when he was just a young boy. Hannibal then took command of the Carthaginian force in Spain. 2 years later, he marched his army across the Athro River into Sangrum. He then declared war on Rome. Hannibal and his troops, which included a lot of people, marched across Spain, over the Alps, and into Italy, with a number of elephants, which was never heard of. This led to victories over Roman troops at Ticinus, Trebia, and Trasimene. Hannibal's daring invasion to Rome reached its height at Cannae in 216 BC, where he used his super cavalry to surround a Roman army twice his size and inflicted massive casualties. The Romans managed to rebound, and the Carthaginians lost hold in Italy as Rome won victories in Spain, North Africa, under the rising young general Publius Scipio, who was later known as Scipio Africanus. In 203 BC, Hannibal's forces were abandoned the struggle of Italy in order to defend their home country of North Africa. The following year, Scipio's army routed the Carthaginians at Zama. Hannibal's losses in the Second Punic War effectively put an end to Carthage's empire in the western Mediterranean, thus leaving Rome in control of Spain and allowing Carthage to retain only its own territory in North Africa. Carthage was also forced to give up its fleet and pay a large indemnity to Rome in silver. In 149 BC, after Carthage technically broke its treaty with Rome by declaring war against its neighboring state, Numidia, the Romans set up an army to North Africa, which thus beginning the Third Punic War. Carthage withstood the Roman siege for 2 years before a change of Roman command put the young general Scipio Aemilius, who was later known as Scipio the Younger, in charge of North Africa campaign in 147 BC. After tightening Roman positions around Carthage, Aemilius launched a forced attack on its harboring side on the spring of 146 BC, pushing into the city and destroying house after house, basically burning the entire city down while pushing enemy troops towards the citadel. After 7 days of horrific bloodshed, the Carthaginians surrendered, and Rome burnt that city that stood for over 700 years down to the ground. This defeat led to Rome reigning supremely over the empire stretching from the Atlantic coast of Spain to the border between Greece and Asia Minor, which is now known as Turkey. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. That was very interesting. Now we will be interviewing our very own social class. Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Rupert. We're reporting to you live from ancient Rome, and we are speaking to a slave. So, how did you become enslaved?
I was brought up as a slave because both of my parents were slaves.
Who can be a slave?
Well, if you were brought up as a slave as I was, or if you were an abandoned child, or if you were captured in war.
That is so sad. Can you get married?
Many of us do get married, but it is not legal.
Does that mean you're not allowed to have children?
Many slaves do have children, but also they kill them before they can grow up.
That is terrible. Do you have any legal standing?
No, I do not, but I can eventually gain my freedom.
So how can you gain freedom?
If I am given to it by my master, or if I earn enough to eventually buy my freedom.
That is such a touching story. Thank you for coming on our show today, and we'll see you next time.
So here I am reporting live with a former slave. She's going to tell us about her experience about being freed. So, how do you feel being free?
Although I am labeled free, I am by no means free. I am happy to not be a slave anymore, but I do wish I had more freedom and was considered a citizen.
So does this mean you can hold public office now?
Unfortunately, no, I cannot hold public office because I'm not a citizen.
Well, are your children considered citizens?
Actually, yes, my children are considered citizens of the Roman Empire.
So how about you tell me about how you became free?
Unlike most of my friends who are granted freedom, I had to pay my owner for my freedom, and that is how I became free.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It was so touching. We'll be back live tomorrow again with a foreigner. Hi, I'm Elena Sherwood, and today I'm in ancient Rome with a foreigner. I know immigration is extremely important to ancient Rome, so where are you from?
I'm from Carthage, Africa.
What do foreigners usually do for the Roman Empire?
Most foreigners provide the Roman Empire with skilled workers and soldiers.
What occurred in 212 CE?
In 212 CE, under the rule of Emperor Caracalla, most foreigners were granted citizenship.
So are you freeborn?
Yes, I am.
Well, I'm very happy you weren't born into slavery. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Elena here reporting from ancient Rome with a local Latin. What social class are you from?
I'm actually from the lower social class.
Where did you generally settle in Rome?
Most of us usually settle along central Italy.
What occurred in 89 BCE?
That's funny that you say that. In 89 BCE, we were all granted full citizenship.
What were you considered before 89 BCE?
We were actually considered freeborn residents of Italy.
What occupation were you generally?
Most of us are usually shepherds or farmers.
What type of housing do you live in?
We all live in huts.
That's really interesting. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Hi, it's Elena again reporting live from ancient Italy. Here I have a local commoner. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, how about you tell me about this?
Well, most of us can usually be seen wearing a toga or a tunic, so today I'm wearing a toga.
Are you considered a citizen?
Yes, I am considered a citizen of the Roman Empire.
Are you allowed to marry another Roman?
Yes, I am allowed to marry another Roman. That is one of the rights of being a citizen.
So if you and your spouse had children, what would they be considered?
My children would also be considered a common citizen.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Bye. Hi, my name is Lauren Rupert, and we're reporting live from ancient Rome. Today we are speaking with Augusta, who is a woman of the lower class. So, Augusta, what are you considered?
Before I was married, I was considered property of my father, but afterwards I was considered property of my husband.
That's interesting. When did you get married?
I was married at 13 years old, but many of my friends were married much younger than that.
So, what are you allowed to do as a woman?
As a woman of the lower class, I am not expected to have as many children as the women of the upper class. I can assist with work and I can advise my husband.
So what can you not do?
I cannot vote and I cannot be a part of the government or military.
Thank you, Augusta. We'll see you next time. Hi, my name is Lauren Rupert, and today we're reporting live in ancient Rome. Today, we have an upper-class woman with us. So, in order to be considered an upper-class woman, do you have to be married?
Yes, you have to be married to an upper-class man in order to be considered an upper-class woman.
So, what is it like to be an upper-class woman?
Well, as an upper-class woman, there are a lot of responsibilities. We're expected to be respectable, modest, gracious, and have a lot of self-control. We're also expected to have a great honor and concern for our husbands and children. And while our spouses are away for military duties, we have to keep them informed of political ongoings.
So, how many children do you generally have?
Well, I personally have 8, but that's because more wealthy women generally have more children because of their financial stability.
So, what are upper-class women usually found dressed in?
Usually you're found dressed in togas and headbands, similar to this one.
Well, I like your outfit. Thank you for coming on our show today, and we'll see you next time. Hi, my name is Lauren Rupert. Today we are reporting from ancient Rome. Today we have an equestrian with us. So, what do you participate in?
We participate in senatorial business.
So, are you a part of the senatorial class?
No, we just assist them.
So, what are the requirements of being an equestrian?
Well, we have to prove that we have an income of at least 40,000 sesterces.
Wow, that's a lot. So, do you have any privileges?
Well, we're allowed to have a horse for military battles.
So, what do you generally wear?
We normally wear togas and a gold ring, similar to this one.
Thank you for coming on our show today. Bye. Hi, my name is Lauren Rupert. Today we are reporting live in ancient Rome. We are here speaking with a member of the upper class, a senator. So, what does a senator do?
The senatorial conducts official government affairs and makes major government decisions.
So, what exactly is the senatorial made up of?
The senatorial is made up of consuls, government officials elected by high-class citizens, former equestrians.
So, what are some of the basic things people should know about the Roman senatorial?
Well, plebeians weren't allowed to run for office until about 4th century BCE. The consuls are still predominantly made up of patricians. Patricians are the highest members of society. The Senate has no political authority, but we still influence very heavily on government decisions.
Thank you for coming in today. We'll see you next time. Wow, that was very interesting. Thank you all for coming out and teaching us a little bit about yourself. It's amazing how much we don't even know about our own social class. So up next, we have 2 very important leaders who impacted Rome for better or worse.
Hi Lauren, thanks for having me here on Roman Times. Today I'm here to tell you about the famous Augustus. Augustus was born Gaius Octavius on September 23, 63 BC in Velletri, Italy. His father was one of the first Roman senators to be elected to the high office of the praetorship. His mother was Julius Caesar's niece. Julius Caesar is the person who helped the young Octavius become very influential in Roman life. When Octavius was 12, he delivered the funeral speech for his grandmother, and then 4 years later he received the membership of the Board of Priests. Before Caesar's death, Augustus accompanied him in his procession after his victory in Africa, after his opponents in the Civil War. And then he joined the dictator in Spain. While he was in Apollonia doing some of his studies, he learned that Julius Caesar had been murdered. When Augustus discovered that Caesar was his adopted father and left him in his will as his heir, he discovered that Mark Antony, Caesar's chief lieutenant, had taken all of his possessions and paperwork and expected that he himself would be the principal heir. So he wouldn't give Augustus any of Caesar's funding, which forced Octavius to have to find his own money, raise his own funds, to pay back Caesar's requests. One of Augustus's major accomplishments was accomplishing a lot of peace throughout Rome. He also accomplished the blending of Greek and Roman cultures and realizing how much the two were truly alike. He also caused the diffusion of Judaism and Christianity throughout Rome. Well, Lauren, thanks for having me here today on the Roman Times. I had a great time. Bye.
The full name of Emperor Caligula was Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, and he was one of the infamous and insane of the Roman emperors. He was born August 31st, 12 AD in Antima, Italy, which today is known as Anzio, Italy. He is the third of 6 children of Germanicus and Agrippina. His family bloodline is very, very famous. His great-great-grandfather had been Julius Caesar, and his great-grandfather was Augustus. As a child, he accompanied his father on military conquests, on which he earned the nickname Caligula, which is the Latin word meaning little boots. As the current emperor Augustus grew old, he needed a successor. Tiberius, his stepson, was named the successor. And in 14 AD, Tiberius died and Emperor Tiberius took power. Caligula's family was faced a series of trials because of Tiberius. Tiberius was believed to be the cause of Germanicus' death and is known to be the reason of Agrippa and Caligula's 2 older brothers' deaths. Caligula was spared and sent to live with Augustus' wife and his own great-grandmother Livia. In 31 AD, he was adopted by Tiberius and named successor, but he didn't like that, so in 337 AD, Tiberius died and Caligula took power. At 24 years old, Caligula became the 3rd emperor of Rome. He was well received as emperor for a while. He made many popular choices, like getting rid of an unpopular tax, granting bonuses to military people, and freeing people who were wrongly imprisoned. He held many grand parties, gladiator shows, and chariot races. However, that prosperity quickly came to an end. Not far into his rule, he became very, very sick, and for over a month, many people believed he would die. However, he survived and began to act very differently. He had constant headaches and could be seen wandering the palace at night. He flaunted his power, he ordered outlandish construction, dressed like a woman, got rid of any politicians who were considered rivals, he made parents watch their children be executed, he replaced heads of god statues with his own image, and declared himself a living god. He is rumored to have declared war on Neptune, be engaged in incestuous activities with his sister, and to have put his horse on the Senate. He died in Rome, Italy on January 24th, 41 AD. To be precise, he was assassinated outside of a sporting event and stabbed over 30 times. His wife and daughter were also killed. He was known as a cruel and unpredictable ruler, and still to this day he remains one of Rome's craziest rulers.
Thank you everyone for watching. Please tune in next week for more on ancient Rome. This is Lauren Rupert, and we are The Roman Times.